everyone. Welcome to another interview video cast with me, Ivy Marie Lim, Peak Performance and Relationship Coach. And I am here with Rachel Schwab. She is actually we've met in our second mastermind together. So it's really nice to have her here and introducing her to all of you. She is a business and life coach, and she works with creative and conscious entrepreneurs. And specifically, what I wanted to bring Rachel here today to talk about is the fact that she really incorporates astrology in her coaching. And if you know me, you know I love what's in the stars. I take into account the cosmos and the energy of the universe and how we can harness that energy both in our homes, in our lives, and in our business. So everyone, let's meet Rachel. Hello, Rachel. Thanks for coming.
Hi. Oh, thank you.
And I just wanted to, how did you get into this business, first of all, and how did you decide? Did you always love astrology, or did you pick that up after and decide to incorporate it, or did you want to keep it separate? Because some people, they think it's very woo, although astrology now more than ever is in the mainstream, it's in the newspapers. How much do you use it in your business without it? I guess because the way I've used astrology and the cosmos and the energy of the stars is that sometimes I can't find myself diving too deep because it stops me. It sort of takes my power away. So I've always used it as, say, like an umbrella. I've used it as a forecast, and I use it to be prepared. And I also use it as a point of self-awareness. So how do you find that you like to use it? What's the benefit of using it for your clients? And yeah, let's talk about that.
Okay. Because I'm trying to keep up with the questions, and I'm thinking, okay, all of the above. So let's go back. Let's go back. Okay. So yes, I've always loved astrology. So I picked up my first astrology book. I guess I was around 15, and it was like the sun signs, the Linda Goodman astrology books. And anybody who's really into astrology knows Linda Goodman, sun signs, love signs, all of it. And so I stumbled upon these in my early teens, and really didn't go beyond knowing people's sun signs, though. Like, I had no idea of anything beyond people's sun signs for years and years, like forever. But having said that, I got really good at identifying people by their sun signs, because it's just an observation I made for like decades, so to speak. But either way, I started
through your own experimentation,
totally,
and your own intuition.
Yeah. And conversations. Like I'm just such a curious person. And just like you said, a lot of people didn't believe in it. But I found I was never really afraid to talk to people about it and ask what their sign was. And then you find people who are, also into astrology. And then we would both say, oh, he's such a Leo, like just silly things. Either way, it never went beyond sun signs. And so it was a few years ago, probably around the same time I started really getting into coaching. So long story short, my career was mostly in public relations, communications, digital marketing. Awesome. I loved that career. I loved doing all of that, writing and blogging and, writing for newspapers and taking photos and doing social media for clients. Like, I really love all that work. However, I came upon an opportunity, which was very serendipitous, because I started noticing that my mentors were coaches online. It was almost like this whole movement of, how can you grow personally? How can you grow professionally? How can you become more conscious? And I was finding that my online mentors and people I was following and books I was reading, these people were calling themselves life coaches. And then it just so happens that an opportunity presented itself to me, and I got to go to school to be a life coach. Now, I always highlight this point because I really value education. And I really value the learning. And so over the past couple of years, I've done tons of learning, just like you, Ivy. Like I'm really, um, I'm really serious about, right? Like the credentialing and the education and the mentorship. So either way, it's something I did, and thus started coaching. Now, I didn't bring astrology into my coaching in the first few years. And going back to what you said, because unless somebody actually believes it, it's not, it's just me, talking about, it's me bringing my own agenda to the coaching, which is not something that we do in coaching. However, I think I'd say over the past year and a half, people really want to talk about it. They want to talk about what's in their charts, and they want, actually, you know what it is? They want to learn. And they want me to like tell them some astrology, like I'm uncovering secrets, like I'm telling them something, or I'm validating something, which goes back to the last point you made, is that you use it as an umbrella, right? Not as a guiding force and a definitive label in your life. And that's exactly how I use astrology as well.
Yeah, because, well, even in the coaching, I mean, I use a ton of personality assessments, character assessments, and we sort of want to know, like, is there something else outside of us, or is there something else that is blocking us from getting to where we want to go? But really, it's a point of self-awareness. Would you agree with that? Instead of, I mean, do you find people who actually say, no, I'm not going to do this today because Mercury's in retrograde? Like, would you agree with that point, or how would you work around something like that? Something is strong. Like, first of all, can you explain just on a high level what exactly is Mercury retrograde? Because are we not in it right now?
We are in it, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so each planet represents something about our psyche. Mercury is the planet that represents the sign, the planet that represents our thinking and our communication. Okay, among some other things, transportation, local neighborhood, etc. But it's mostly thinking and communication. So when any planet goes retrograde, and it's just, it doesn't actually go backwards, it's just that the Earth overtakes it. So it seems like it's going backwards. But when any planet goes retrograde, that is a time when we are to do all things RE, reassess, reevaluate, commit, revise. So if Mercury is retrograde, the planet of thinking and communication, this is a time for us to stop moving forward and stop going and sitting back and going, okay, who haven't I got in touch with lately? What emails are in my inbox? Where do I need to slow down and reassess, right? What conversation do I maybe need to revisit and adjust? Do you understand? Like it's an amazing time for the cosmos to support us in saying, whoa, time to reflect.
So how does this, why has it become so popular though in recent years, the mainstream? I guess, is it because of the fact that we rely so much on technology to communicate now? Is that?
Could be. Yeah, that's a great, I have not thought about it. However, that's a really great example, because I think more and more people are noticing when Mercury is in retrograde, the tech problems, and this is real. Like this is real. When you come to your computer and it's crashing and Zoom's not working, you're like, what the heck is going on with Mercury? Oh, right, it's retrograde. Like this, this is real. So maybe more people are noticing, I guess.
And that brings me to another question, is your various energy fluxes, because as you know, I do a lot of feng shui, and it's all about managing our energies. And there is an arm of feng shui that looks around the cosmos. Is basically Chinese astrology. It is different from Western astrology, because Western astrology, which is, I should have clarified, is what Rachel does primarily, is based on singular individual characteristics, whereas Chinese astrology is based on almost a generational pattern for this period in your life, and it's about anywhere from 7 to 9 years. But I do like Western astrology because I find that it really does. If you look at your characteristics, my characteristics, I'm a Scorpio, it does explain a lot of things. It does like give you that point of self-awareness. So it's not so much as, so how do you do that? How do you work with the person in terms of their sign, their characteristics, and their stars, instead of having it used against you, and to the point where like, I can't do that because I'm a label, right? Like, do you believe that in a certain way? How would you manage?
Totally. That's an
that?
Awesome question. So I always take a coaching approach, always. And the astrology that I love to look at most is called evolutionary astrology. Okay, so
I haven't heard of that. Yeah.
Well, and there's a story, right? There's a story behind it, and what I love so much about it is it's the story is sort of an unfolding of our journey in this life, and so that means that it offers so much flexibility, right? Because this is exactly how it works. Okay, I may say, okay, Ivy, this is what's showing up in your chart. An astrologer whom you pay would say this is what it means. Coach, what I say, because again, I take a strength-based coaching approach, is I say, let's explore that and decipher what it means for you. What does it mean for you? So yes, just for a short little small example, going back to Mercury retrograde. So Mercury retrograde, yes, is in this time, and it's showing that it's very close to, say, your sun or some part of your chart, which means that it can really affect you, or maybe affect a plan you have coming up, right? But we are given free will. This is where we have free will on this earth. And so what does it mean for you? And you know what you might say? You might say, okay, well, I can choose to go ahead with this or not, or I can choose to continue on this path, but I can also choose to, maybe this is a good time for me to just take another look at that, or maybe not send out that email sequence next week. Maybe I should just go back through it again, or maybe I should show it to someone. I'm just saying, like, giving examples. There's always choice, always. It's what does it mean for you?
Yeah.
And that is where the strength-based coaching comes in.
And it gives you that, like you said, that moment of reflection, that moment, instead of, and some things are meant to do very spontaneously, right? But it gives you the inner awareness. It gives you that moment to tune in, and it gives you a reference point of what you should be turning into. What should you be looking for? What should you be feeling in this time, knowing the overall energy of the cosmos? So that's what happens to me, is that whenever I'm feeling specifically unclear or needing clarification, then I will look to the charts, whether it's, quickly Chinese astrology, some dates here and there, or what's happening in the cosmos, or even if there was like, what is a geomagnetic storm? Like there's I know, like there's like Russian websites, they're really good at tracking that geomagnetic storms happening. And I was like, oh, no wonder I had like a blasting headache, or I was feeling really drained that day. But then you get up and you go and you make up for it. So can you explain like some of the like in the last couple of months, and now that we are in Mercury retrograde, what did you find that was happening with the overall energies the last few months, especially with this other big thing that everybody is dealing with? How are you finding that?
Yeah, so okay, yes, there's lots going on, and the astrology absolutely shows it. The astrology showed that at the beginning of 2020 there would be some cataclysmic event and everything would be changing. It's a breakdown of the old paradigm. Right? This is exactly what the astrology is showing, and we will continue for the next couple of years. Having said that, I just want to go back to remind everybody that we are meaning-making people. And some people will go, oh, that sounds so crazy. Oh, you're looking at, the Schumann resonance, you're looking at the stars, you're looking at Mercury, but we're meaning-making people. And when we came to this earth, or this life, guess what? We get to play around with whatever we want to. And whatever is true for us, that's true for us. It absolutely is, which is why some people are completely unaffected. You just, right? No, there's just no intention or energy in those areas. And some of us have chosen that we want to play in this area and find the meaning for us. That is something I absolutely love. But just going back to the energy, sure, we have this collective energy. Sure, we have all this stuff happening. However, what I really want to point out and offer up is never to look at anything as good or bad.
Yes.
Right? And when we can do that, when we can just step back and go, it is, then we can decide whether it is good for us, bad for us, right? Like we get to, it's stepping back and not judging and then meaning making for ourselves. Some
Especially
people,
when it's not working for you though, right? Like if you're going to make it mean something, make it work. Make it
exactly.
Mean make it work.
Yes. How many people, I mean, there's so many people, and in the news we'll hear businesses closing, all this stuff happening, small businesses, this small business. Do you know how many people I know who have exploded over the past year and a half, right? Whose businesses blew up. There's a lot of people, myself included, who have been continuously brought into the emotional ups and downs. But there's tons of people who went, oh, this is my time to, guess what, shut out and just stay in my own lane. Like we get to do whatever we choose to do, regardless of what's happening with energy, astrology, right?
Yeah. So what are some tips right now? When is when did Mercury retrograde come into effect? How long is it? And then what are some tips that you have for this period? And how does it sort of align with like the end of the year? We're in the last quarter now of the year. I like to end with some, tangible takeaways for the audience too. Do you have any specific things that they could take away from you right now?
Yes. Okay. So Mercury retrograde is actually a very small piece of the pie. It's really not even a big thing. There's bigger things. Saturn's going direct.
Yeah. To blame it, right?
Yeah. Saturn's going direct. Jupiter's going to be going direct. Pluto just went direct. And so this means that all this stagnant energy that we've had over the past few months, sort of this sort of time where we've been in a collective pause, and we have been in a collective pause, everything's going to start moving forward. By the end of this month, moving forward, we're going to have a full moon in Aries at the end of the month. That is awesome. That is like, look back to what you started 6 months ago, and what are you wrapping up? What needs to go? Just get rid of what is no longer serving in your life. And honestly, Ivy, we do this all the time, but still, this is what's, I'm going to invite you or, everyone to just sort of focus on. We have 2 eclipses coming up. So this is what I have to say. We're always being supported by the universe. Our evolution and our journey is always, always being supported. Seriously, whether it's with, wonderful things happening or whether it's with really difficult things happening. It's always to support our journey. And so what I would say is tune out, unplug, tune into this, come back to who you are, who you want to be, and what it is that you want to experience in the future. That's honestly.
And it's a great time, like you said. And I like to use it as a continuous new beginning. Like you said, it's an evolution. You're constantly evolving. There are times where you do have to stop and slow down, and there are times, but you're always moving forward, whether it's slow or fast. And it's not too late. Like if you say 6 months, and some people will be like, oh my God, I haven't started anything. I've been totally procrastinating, but it's okay. It's okay to catch up and redo, because the energies are behind us and they've always has been, right? So a little bit of self-compassion there as well.
Yeah. And really it all starts with intention. It all comes back to intention. What the heck do you want to do anyways?
Yeah.
So this is one of the reasons why I love planning with the new moons and full moons, which I try to do every month.
Me too.
Yeah, and because it helps me and my people and other people to just, it's like come back into intention. What are we creating here? What do we want to create? What have we accomplished? Well, all the things. What are we letting go of? What new seeds are we planting?
Yeah,
It's
and it's never too late. It's never too late to start. It's never too late to have a new intention, right? That's the beauty of this, of our work, of your work. The sun is going to rise the next day. There will be another moon every
Yeah.
night. You just
Yeah.
may not see it
Yeah.
during the new moon phase, but it's there.
Yeah.
Right.
And if I may, I mean, you're going to take another breath, right? We can set an intention right now in this moment. We can at any time, at any moment.
Yes, that's beautiful. I love that. Thank you so much, Rachel. I hope that's a great takeaway to end this call. If anyone has, I will post your link as well at the bottom of the in the description. But yeah, if you can just tell people quickly where to reach you and where to find you.
Yeah, so I have a website. It's www.ompoweredlife.com.
I love that. Om Powered Life. OM.
And Om Powered. And I'm also on Instagram, Rachel S. .coach.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Rachel.
Yeah.
I will talk to you soon.
Yes.
Bye.
Thanks, Ivy.